Today's world, we seem to be moving at an absolutely alarming rate from one controversy to the next controversy to the next controversy. And everybody wants to voice their opinion as soon as they read the headline. We don't even a lot of the times bother to read the entire story. It's the headline comes out and we all rush to one controversy to the next. And a lot of the times, especially online, we get very angry and there's a lot of vitriol spread between warring factions. And this leads us to the question of Christians, how do we engage and be different than the world in this? And that is an important question, because a lot of the times, if you don't say anything, people accuse you of cowardice, or they accuse you of enabling the problems that plague our society. And the thing is the Bible offers us a lot of guidance of how to pursue both truth and justice when it comes to controversies like this. For instance, one thing that we should all do is, before coming to a solid opinion, we need to hear both sides. We need to be open to hearing both sides. We are told in the Proverbs that he who speaks first seems right until someone else comes and examines him. And if we're not willing to do that before we render our verdict online, well, then we are not really concerned with the idea of justice. Another thing the Bible tells us in Deuteronomy 19:15 is that we should presume people are innocent. That contrary to a lot of the rhetoric that goes on today, one person's story is not enough for us to treat someone as guilty. One witness is not enough. The Bible, throughout all of both the Old and New Testament, reminds us that we need corroborating evidence before we render someone as guilty. That is, we presume, even if one person accuses someone of something, we presume them as innocent until there is corroborating evidence. Because it is far too easy for one person to lie, whether out of revenge or out of spite or hatred, or because they think their cause is worthy. It is far too easy to lie about someone else. So we wait till all the facts come forward before we render our verdict and our decision publicly. Another thing we need to do is not go with the mob. The Bible actually warns us of this, that we should not pervert justice to go with the crowd, whatever the crowd is doing. Now, in olden times, crowds would gather together. They thought they were pursuing justice, and they'd stone someone because they thought that they were wrong. And they would gather together in later times, and they would hang people before any due process. And they would say, well, we're pursuing justice. But the Bible reminds us that that isn't justice. That's a perversion of justice. Now, today, we don't really do that, but we do that, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook. People's lives have been ruined because a mob is gathered together and they say, we are pursuing justice. Well, that's the farthest thing from justice biblically. The mob isn't concerned with justice. They're concerned with their narrative, their power, and what they want from it. And as Christians, that shouldn't be us. So before we go spouting off online, one of the things we should do is seek to hear both sides. We should seek to be impartial. We should seek corroborating evidence and actually do the hard work of researching these things instead of just reacting on Facebook or Twitter first. That Christians, we should foundationally care first and foremost about truth and getting it right instead of being the first person to comment or having the hottest take online. We are people of truth and grace, and God's word can direct us with our online engagement.